Hey, what up, guys? In this one, we're headed out to Eagle Ridge in Gilroy. All I have to say is that I was pleasantly surprised by this track and I really enjoyed this course. So let's head out to the course and see how I did. Alright, ended up playing the Wax today because, hey, it's a course I have never played before and I don't want to make life any harder for myself. So this one ends up going up on the right-hand side. And unfortunately, my approach to the green comes up a little short. I end up chunking my gap wedge here. And so just take out my sandwich, just get it onto the putting surface. Ends up being pretty good. And end up leaving it in a decent spot and giving myself a chance for par here. As you can see, the 3-ball is still in the bag. End up missing that one, but tapping in for bogey on the first hole here at Eagle Ridge. All right, coming up next is a par 3 here at Eagle Ridge. End up just taking an 8-iron here, hitting a pretty good shot. I thought I hit it a little bit hard, but ends up being perfect in the center, playing it pretty safe there. And here's my putt with a 3-ball, and just skirt it right by. So end up just tapping that one in for a par here on the second. So overall, really enjoyed this course, and as you can see, it's in pretty good shape, and the track is really neat too. So if you're ever in Gilroy, I highly suggest that you come check this course out. Just hit this driver up in the center and hit a really good approach into the green, 8-iron once again, right into the center. And so I end up being on the correct tier, and I have a good putt here and look at birdie. So here's the birdie attempt. Just not a good attempt overall. Gave it too much break and just ended up tapping in for another par. At this point, only 1 over through 3. Really like that position that I'm in. This is the first par 5 of the day. And there's a big tree up the left-hand side that if you're too far on the left, it'll definitely be blocking your second shot. But played it out right on the drive. This next shot, flared it out right, unfortunately. But just laid it up and gave myself a reasonable distance to the hole for my third. So here's the third shot. And I'm just going for the center of the green. Hits the center, and I'm looking pretty good for this birdie attempt. So here's the birdie attempt. And just left it a little bit short. So, I mean, I'll take in the easy par, but unfortunately didn't convert for the birdie. All right, this next hole is more of like a target golf hole. If you hit it too hard, you might be in some trouble up the left-hand side. And the right-hand side's not that favorable either, so you just got to hit it straight. So I took some off, hit it straight into the fairway. And this one I got pretty lucky in my approach. End up just being short and left. And so I have a bump and run for this chip onto the green, and it was a really good one. So I don't know, I'm not sure if you can see that directly there, but yeah, it's just short tap in, and so at this point, still only 1 over. So at this point around, can't complain of what's happening on the course. This coming up next hole is a par 3, pretty short. End up being a little bit short, and so I have a testy one now for my birdie with the 3-ball putter. So here is the putt. And yeah, just leave this one short as well. So, rolling it pretty well here with the 3-ball. Kid you not, I'm, really enjoying using this thing so far. And I tap that in for another par. So let's go. All right, coming up next is a par 5. Just aim up that left-hand side by that sand trap. I end up pulling it a little bit, but end up being okay on top of this hill. End up just laying this one up. Chunked it a little bit, but it ends up being an okay spot since this is a relatively short par 5. And this was probably my biggest error of the round. I had a ton of space to the left to avoid the bunker, and it hits barely outside the bunker and rolls in, and then I barely get it out. So, my sand game is not that strong. And yeah, I end up just, kind of blowing this hole up, which starts, unfortunately, a series of events that, make my score a little bit higher than I would like. But that being said, I end up picking a double here. But hey, only 3 overs at this point, and I'll still take it. All right, this next hole is a longer par 4. End up skying this one and popped it up, so I didn't hit it all that far, so I have a long second shot into the green. End up just taking the 4-iron here. Ends up rolling up pretty decent, but still really short. And so I have this up and down attempt here with the 9-iron, and I just hit it way too hard. Got a little too aggressive, got a little too greedy, and so now I have a super long putt just to save par. So here's the par putt. It doesn't stay up, don't hit it quite good enough, and then I just tap this in for a bogey here. But yeah, that being said, still 4 over at this point, can still make something happen. Let's see how we go into the 9th hole. So on this 9th hole, I elected to go for a bunt driver, hit about 200 yards. I wish I would have hit it like 230 to leave a shorter second shot into the green. still had more than 200 yards to get to the green. I ended up pulling this one a little bit to the left of the green, and so you can't see the chip here, but yeah, still had to hit pretty hard to get it onto a certain tier of that green. Ends up being okay, and here's the par attempt. And I barely missed that one. Burns the edge. If I were to play this hole again, I would take more club off the tee shot and hit it maybe like 230 instead of a bunt driver. All right, coming through the turn. I end up hitting this one out to the right, flirted out with some spin, so it didn't go all that far. This next shot, I think maybe I took a different club. Arco said 8-iron, so I'm just going to put that, but it ends up going like 170 or something. So something happened with the calculation on the distance there. Nonetheless, I end up just taking my sandwich here, and it rolls pretty far and stays straight. So I have a long putt for my par here. And here is the par attempt with 3-ball. And check this out. We end up draining it. So end up saving a par, rammed it in, and, you know, still keeping the 5-over score. All right, coming up next, medium length par 4. Just wanted to be short of the sand traps on the right. Not much bailout room left, so kept this one pretty safe. This one I hit pretty good. My 7-iron into the green. It goes a little bit over the green, so I have a little chip here. Luckily, this one ends up hitting the hole because it went way by. So I have this little putt for my par, and up draining it. So still 5-over at this point. All right, coming up next is a beautiful par 4. You got water all the way up the left-hand side. You got mountains that are green in the background. I end up hitting a really good drive that's just short of this trap on the right. I have a pretty lengthy one for my second one, 416 yards. I cheated over a little bit on the right-hand side because I didn't want to be in the water on the left. Ended up being a little bit short. And so now I have an up and down with the 9-iron to contend with. Here is the attempt. And yeah, I was super short. Not a very good bump and run, but at least I have a shot at par here, albeit not a very good one. And here's the putt. And yeah, just burned the edge again. So overall, like you saw in the last week's video, the 3-balls treated me well. So just tap that in for my bogey here, and we're 6-over at this point, but still looking pretty good. All right, coming up next is a butt kicker of a par 3. It's 190 yards, playing with some wind, and I end up just chunking my 4-iron. So I barely got lucky that I rolled out into this point. I ended up actually hitting a pretty, safe wedge. Like I just wanted to be on the green. And this one I just overread the putt. I thought it was going to break way more to the left, and it didn't. Ends up rolling out, pretty decently. Had good pace, but not the good line. And just left myself with a long bogey putt. So here's the bogey attempt. And yeah, I just didn't put a good stroke on it. Didn't trust the line, and so I ended up tapping for a double bogey. All right, coming up next is a par 5. This one, you just don't want to hit it too far because there's trouble left and right, and it narrows down into that valley that you can see. And then my second shot, I just ended up flaring to the right and not hitting good. But fortunately, I got a kick, and now I'm just on this side hill lie for my third. This one, I ended up being super short. I flared it again. And so I have this really difficult chip to hit onto the green. And this is as best as I could do. I was hoping for it to check. I barely hit onto the green, but it's going to roll way past because it's breaking away from me. And I have this long putt just to save par. But guess what? Check out that 3-ball. So another par and saved it from being way bigger than a par. All right, coming up next is a hole in which I thought I hit a pretty good shot. But you need to hit this at least 200, and I failed to do that. I end up getting caught in the trees, and so I have to punch out from this stuff. And unfortunately, it goes right into the hazard. So I'm dropping the ball, taking a stroke, and hitting my 4th onto the green. And, just played it safe, just get onto the putting surface. And here's my attempt for bogey. And yeah, end up just hitting it like a couple feet from the hole. But could have been a lot worse, but just took my medicine and took a double bogey in the end of the day. All right, so trying to recover from that double bogey, I have to do absolutely the opposite and chunk this into another hazard. So re-tee, hitting another ball, hitting my 3rd shot, end up getting over at least this time, but then being left of the pin, and then I just end up bumping and running this one. Not the greatest of bump and runs, but hey, at least I'm putting that's close to the hole. End up saving that for, unfortunately, another double. Yep, just a reminder that golf is hard. This is a par 5. I ended up going over these trees on the left on accident, which turns out to be a really good mistake because now I'm set up really nicely for my second shot. So I take out my super hybrid here. I thought I hit a really good shot, and I thought I was going to be on. End up being like 30 yards short. So I take my wedge here, hit a really good shot here, play a little bit of the break of the hill, and it comes down. And so I have this really manageable putt for birdie, and the 3-ball is coming through. So yeah, hear the birdie money noise, and yeah, I'm only 11 over now. So at this point, pretty happy overall with the game. Had a really good time with the people I was playing with, and this course is honestly really great. Didn't expect to have this kind of course here in Gilroy. I highly recommend that you go check it out. The audio cut out here, but pretty much my second shot ends up going onto the green, so the 3-ball has another chance to prove itself. And yeah, just end up lagging that one up there, but tapping easily in for par. So overall, happy with the score, happy with the course, 11 over. All right, as you can see, typical round for me. The 3-ball was actually pretty hot. Really enjoyed using this thing so far. That being said, yeah, Eagle Ridge as a course, pretty good. I highly suggest that you, if you have the opportunity, to go check it out. The conditions were good, the track was interesting, and I had a really good time. So that being said, hope you guys enjoy that one. Keep chasing, and I'll see you in the next one.